There are Christmas stories. And then there are royal Christmas stories, the kind that never begin with decorations, carols, or family tradition, but with closed doors, silent phone calls, and decisions made behind the walls of palaces that can change the future of the British monarchy forever. And in late 2026, one question appears to be haunting every palace corridor. Who truly controls the House of Windsor now? For months, reports, commentary, and royal speculation surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have intensified, with several media outlets suggesting that the California-based couple may be hoping for some form of holiday reconciliation with the wider royal family. On the surface, the narrative appears simple, even emotional. A son reconnecting with his father, a family attempting to heal old wounds, a Christmas invitation that could signal a new chapter. But according to multiple commentators, palace watchers, and longtime observers of royal dynamics, some believe the real story may be far more strategic, far more calculated, and far more consequential than a simple family reunion. Because behind every invitation inside the British monarchy, there is power, access, symbolism, and most importantly, legitimacy. And that is where the story becomes impossible to ignore. Because while headlines continue focusing on whether King Charles III may extend an olive branch, insiders, analysts, and royal commentators have increasingly turned their attention somewhere else entirely. Toward Prince William, the future king, the heir who many believe is no longer simply preparing for the crown, but quietly shaping the monarchy in real time. And if that is true, then what happens if Prince William no longer sees this as a family disagreement, but as an institutional challenge? What would you do if protecting your brother meant risking the future of the crown, but protecting the crown meant standing against your own brother? That question may now sit at the heart of Britain's most closely watched royal drama. Because throughout 2026, something appears to have shifted inside the royal family. Reports suggest that as King Charles III continues balancing public duty, health discussions, and the weight of legacy, more operational responsibility may be moving toward Prince William, the Prince of Wales, and beside Prince William stands another increasingly powerful figure. Catherine, Princess of Wales, known globally as Kate Middleton, whose calm public image has become deeply associated with stability, continuity, and the modern face of the monarchy. And according to royal commentators, that stability may now be influencing decisions far beyond charity appearances, public tours, or ceremonial engagements. Because while Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continue building life in California, reports suggest commercial pressures, media expectations, and brand positioning remain central to public perception surrounding the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Some analysts have argued that any public image featuring Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, King Charles III, Prince William, and Catherine, Princess of Wales together would instantly dominate global headlines and potentially reshape public narratives around royal reconciliation. And if that sounds dramatic, perhaps that is exactly why palace insiders are reportedly paying such close attention. Because this may no longer be about family photographs. This may be about institutional leverage. This may be about who gets to stand near the crown, and who no longer does. And as speculation grows around holiday gatherings at Sandringham, many royal observers have begun asking an uncomfortable question. If Prince Harry and Meghan Markle truly receive an invitation, would that signal forgiveness? Or would it signal that the monarchy still remains vulnerable to public pressure, media narratives, and emotional diplomacy? And perhaps more importantly, would Prince William allow that? Because according to commentary surrounding palace restructuring in 2026, some believe Prince William has increasingly adopted a more disciplined, policy-driven approach to royal operations, emphasizing service, accountability, and institutional boundaries. While many of these reports remain unconfirmed, the broader narrative surrounding Prince William as the future king continues gaining momentum. And if that momentum is real, then Prince Harry may no longer be negotiating with a father. Prince Harry may be confronting an entirely new system. A system where access is no longer emotional. A system where proximity to Buckingham Palace is no longer assumed. A system where titles matter, but duty matters more. And this is where everything changes. Because as Christmas approaches, speculation surrounding Sandringham, succession, royal titles, and family dynamics appears to be colliding at exactly the same moment. On one side stands Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, carrying history, public sympathy, controversy, and unfinished chapters. On the other side stands Prince William, the future king, backed by Catherine, Princess of Wales, carrying the expectations of an institution that has survived for generations. And somewhere in the middle stands King Charles III, balancing fatherhood, monarchy, and legacy. So let me ask you, if you were Prince William, the future king, would you choose reconciliation or protection? Because what happened next may reveal far more than a Christmas invitation. It may reveal who truly controls the future of the royal family. And if you enjoy deep royal analysis, high-stakes palace stories, and the hidden power shifts shaping the monarchy in real time, subscribe now. Because what Prince William reportedly does next may change everything. What makes royal history so fascinating is not the moment the public sees a decision, but the months of silent preparation that happen long before a single palace statement ever reaches the front pages. And according to growing royal speculation throughout 2026, that silent preparation may already have changed everything for Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the future of the wider royal family. Because while media attention remained fixed on interviews, documentaries, memoirs, and California headlines, a very different story appears to have been unfolding behind the walls of Buckingham Palace, Windsor, and the private offices connected to Prince William. A story not built on emotion, but on systems, protocols, and the quiet architecture of long-term power. According to the reference material and growing commentary from palace observers, some believe Prince William, the future king, has spent much of 2026 doing something that may prove more consequential than any public speech or ceremonial appearance. Instead of reacting to royal drama, Prince William may have begun redesigning the very framework through which access to the monarchy is granted. That may sound administrative, even boring to casual observers, but inside a thousand-year-old institution, paperwork can become power, procedure can become protection, and policy can become the strongest weapon of all. And this is where the story becomes impossible to ignore. Because reports suggest that as King Charles III gradually delegated more operational responsibilities to Prince William, the Prince of Wales, major decisions involving residences, schedules, access protocols, and internal approvals may have started flowing through offices connected directly to the future king. If even part of that speculation proves accurate, then Prince Harry may no longer be dealing with the monarchy Prince Harry once knew. Prince Harry may now be facing the monarchy Prince William is building. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If your older brother controlled the gates, would you still believe family access was automatic? Because according to multiple royal commentators, one of the biggest shifts in 2026 may not involve speeches, titles, or public appearances at all. Instead, some believe the real transformation involves royal residences themselves. Palaces that once symbolized family heritage may now be increasingly treated as strategic state assets, tightly controlled, professionally managed, and evaluated through institutional necessity rather than emotional history. For Prince Harry, that possibility changes everything. Because Prince Harry was not simply born into the monarchy. Prince Harry was born inside its walls, raised within its traditions, and surrounded by a system where access once felt permanent. But if reports surrounding Prince William's administrative reforms are accurate, then Prince Harry may now face something no royal rebel ever truly expects: bureaucracy. And sometimes bureaucracy hurts far more than public criticism. Because imagine the symbolism. Imagine Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, once photographed beside state coaches, global leaders, and military honors, now potentially needing formal approval for access to properties that once felt like home. Imagine what that means for pride. Imagine what that means for status. Imagine what that means for brand value. And perhaps most importantly, imagine what that means for Meghan Markle. Because Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, remains one of the most discussed figures in modern royal history. And whether audiences support Meghan Markle or criticize Meghan Markle, one fact remains undeniable. Meghan Markle understands optics. Meghan Markle understands image. Meghan Markle understands what a single photograph can communicate without saying a word. A Christmas image with King Charles III. A Sandringham appearance beside Prince William. A warm exchange with Catherine, Princess of Wales. Can you imagine what that would do to headlines across America, Britain, Australia, and beyond? Can you imagine what streaming executives, brand partners, media outlets, and palace insiders would immediately begin saying? Because some analysts believe one authentic royal image could instantly reset years of public narrative. But what happens if Prince William already knows that? And what happens if Prince William, the future king, has quietly decided that access to the monarchy can no longer be used as commercial oxygen? That possibility may explain why Catherine, Princess of Wales, often known globally as Kate Middleton, is becoming increasingly central to this evolving story. Royal commentators have long described Kate Middleton as calm, diplomatic, and publicly reassuring, but insiders often suggest that Catherine, Princess of Wales, may also represent something equally powerful: strategic continuity. Because Kate Middleton is not simply protecting the image of the monarchy. Kate Middleton may be protecting the inheritance of the next generation. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis. And if Catherine, Princess of Wales, believes boundaries today create stability tomorrow, then Prince William may have even stronger reason to hold the line. So let me ask you, if your children were expected to inherit the crown one day, would you allow unresolved family conflict to remain inside the institution? Or would you build walls before the next generation ever walks through those palace doors? Because according to the reference narrative, Prince William may already have answered that question. Some believe Prince William has transformed emotional conflict into administrative distance, turning personal disputes into official procedure, and in royal politics, official procedure is often impossible to challenge publicly without looking desperate. And that may be exactly why late 2026 feels different. Because Prince Harry may still hold global recognition. Meghan Markle may still command international headlines. King Charles III may still wear the crown. But inside the machinery of succession, inside the architecture of the future monarchy, inside the corridors where tomorrow's power is quietly shaped, Prince William may already be acting like king. And what Prince William reportedly did next may place Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in their most difficult position yet. So if you are enjoying this deep royal investigation, if you want the hidden strategy behind palace decisions, and if you want to understand how succession, royal titles, and family power are colliding in real time, subscribe now. Because Section 3 takes this story across the Atlantic, where one unexpected public appearance may have changed the entire game. Just when many royal watchers believed the battle between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the wider royal family would continue unfolding through private negotiations, legal discussions, and carefully timed media narratives, an entirely different event reportedly emerged from across the Atlantic, and according to commentators following the House of Windsor throughout 2026, that single moment may have handed Prince William something far more powerful than a public statement, far more effective than a palace denial, and far more dangerous than any interview ever aired: evidence. Because while the royal conversation in Britain remained focused on Sandringham, succession, palace access, and the possibility of a Christmas reconciliation, attention suddenly shifted toward the United States, where Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, reportedly made a quiet public appearance that at first seemed entirely ordinary. There were no red carpets, no royal processions, no carefully choreographed photo opportunities, and no official Buckingham Palace response. On the surface, it appeared to be a personal family visit, the kind of event most global audiences would barely notice before moving on to the next headline. But this is where everything changes. Because according to the reference narrative, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, was reportedly seen attending a public church event in Chicago, moving through public spaces with a level of confidence, visibility, and ease that immediately caught the attention of royal commentators, security analysts, and palace observers who had spent years hearing a very different narrative surrounding personal safety, international risk, and the need for heightened protection. And suddenly, a simple appearance no longer looked simple. It looked political. It looked symbolic. And for some, it looked catastrophic. Because for years, discussions involving Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, security arrangements, and visits to the United Kingdom have generated enormous public debate. Legal discussions, public statements, and media commentary have repeatedly framed security as one of the central issues affecting Prince Harry's relationship with the institution. Security was never just about logistics. Security became image. Security became status. Security became legitimacy. But then came Chicago. And according to several commentators, Chicago may have created a contradiction that could no longer be ignored. Because if Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, could reportedly attend a public event in a major American city with visible confidence, minimal public disruption, and without the type of state-scale protection often associated with senior royals, then one difficult question naturally began circulating among royal analysts. Why would Britain be different? And perhaps even more importantly, how would Prince William, the future king, interpret that moment? Because according to growing royal speculation, Prince William may not have seen Chicago as a random public appearance. Prince William may have seen Chicago as validation. Validation that the narrative surrounding fear, vulnerability, and institutional dependence may no longer align with public optics. And in royal politics, optics often become reality. So let me ask you, if you were Prince William, the future king, and you watched a globally recognized royal figure move comfortably through public American spaces while legal and public debates about security continued in Britain, would that strengthen your resolve, or completely change your strategy? Because according to some palace commentators, the answer may already be obvious. Prince William, the Prince of Wales, has built much of 2026 around one central principle: service earns privilege. And if service earns privilege, then what exactly earns protection? Because inside the wider royal family, another powerful figure reportedly began paying close attention to these developments. And Princess Royal, known to many as Princess Anne, one of the most respected working royals in modern British public life. Princess Anne has long represented duty, resilience, discipline, and an almost military-level commitment to public service, often performing hundreds of engagements each year with remarkably little personal drama. And according to commentators, Princess Anne may have viewed the Chicago appearance through an entirely different lens. Not as a celebrity appearance, not as a family moment, but as a credibility test. Because Princess Anne, Princess Royal, belongs to a generation of royals who built public trust not through documentaries, interviews, or social campaigns, but through decades of visible duty. For Princess Anne, the equation may be brutally simple. If private independence is truly the goal, then private responsibility must follow. And that principle may now be influencing the future king. Because when Prince William, Prince of Wales, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, often recognized globally as Kate Middleton, look toward the future of Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, the issue may no longer be about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle alone. The issue may be precedent. The issue may be boundaries. The issue may be whether future generations inherit a monarchy built on duty, or a monarchy vulnerable to emotional leverage. And if you were Catherine, Princess of Wales, if you were Kate Middleton watching these developments unfold while preparing your children for life inside the crown, would you risk institutional confusion? Or would you support Prince William in drawing a permanent line? That may be the real question behind every silent palace move in 2026. Because according to growing analysis, Chicago may not have created a media scandal. Chicago may have created strategic clarity. Strategic clarity for Prince William. Strategic clarity for King Charles III. Strategic clarity for Buckingham Palace. And strategic clarity for a monarchy increasingly focused on public accountability rather than emotional accommodation. Which means Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, may now face a reality far more difficult than public criticism. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may be facing institutional indifference. And history shows that institutions rarely argue when systems are already in place. They simply close doors. And what Prince William reportedly did after this turning point may reveal just how far the future king is willing to go to protect the crown. So if you enjoy deep royal analysis, hidden palace strategy, and the untold power shifts shaping the future of the monarchy, subscribe now. Because in Section 4, the financial walls around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may prove even stronger than the palace gates. If Chicago exposed what some royal commentators describe as a credibility problem, then what happened next may have created something even more dangerous for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, because behind the palace gates, behind the headlines, and far away from the emotional language of reconciliation, another battle appears to have been unfolding throughout 2026. Not a battle over titles, not a battle over photographs, and not even a battle over access, but a battle over money, accountability, and who exactly gets to benefit from the financial machinery of the British monarchy. And according to growing speculation from palace watchers, this may be the battlefield where Prince William, the future king, has become more determined than ever. Because for years, the public conversation surrounding Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, security arrangements, overseas travel, public appearances, and royal privilege has often been framed through emotion, family conflict, and personal narratives. But institutions rarely survive on emotion alone. Institutions survive on budgets, systems, accountability, and public trust. And if there is one thing Prince William, the future king, appears to understand more clearly with every passing year, it may be this: public trust is not inherited forever. Public trust must be defended. Public trust must be justified. And public trust can disappear the moment taxpayers believe privilege is being exploited. That may explain why 2026 increasingly feels like a year of financial restructuring inside the monarchy. According to the reference material and ongoing commentary, Prince William, the Prince of Wales, has reportedly become deeply involved in broader conversations surrounding estate management, operational transparency, resource allocation, and the long-term financial credibility of the royal institution. While much of that work happens far away from cameras, some analysts believe those quiet reforms may ultimately shape the monarchy more than any public speech ever could. And that raises an uncomfortable question. What happens when Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, no longer represents a family issue, but begins representing a budget issue? Because according to palace commentators, one of the most sensitive areas of ongoing debate involves security costs, accommodation logistics, staffing coordination, and the broader administrative burden created whenever high-profile non-working royals seek access to state-connected infrastructure. On paper, that may sound procedural. In reality, that may mean millions. And in a cost-of-living era, in a politically sensitive climate, in a country where taxpayers increasingly demand transparency, millions can change everything. So let me ask you, if you were Prince William, the future king, and you knew every financial decision connected to the monarchy would eventually be judged not just by family, but by an entire nation, would you make exceptions? Or would you build permanent financial boundaries? Because according to some royal analysts, Prince William may already have answered that question. And the answer may be brutally simple. Service earns support. Departure earns independence. And independence comes with a bill. For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, that possibility may carry enormous consequences. Because Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, built a public narrative around independence, global influence, and a life outside traditional royal structures. Streaming projects, public speaking, media partnerships, documentaries, and lifestyle branding all reinforced one central message: autonomy. But autonomy can be expensive. And if the institution decides autonomy must also mean financial separation, then the economics of royal branding suddenly become far more complicated. Because a prince traveling without palace support tells one story. A prince funding private logistics tells another. A prince paying full market security costs tells an entirely different story. And that difference may be exactly what Prince William wants the public to see. Because according to commentators, Prince William, supported by Catherine, Princess of Wales, may increasingly view the monarchy not simply as a family legacy, but as a public contract. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, has spent years building an image rooted in discipline, consistency, and quiet service. And some insiders believe Catherine, Princess of Wales, may be one of the strongest voices behind the idea that the monarchy must remain visibly aligned with ordinary British families navigating economic uncertainty. And if that is true, then every pound matters. Every privilege matters. Every exception matters. Because one exception today could become public resentment tomorrow. And that may explain why King Charles III reportedly appears increasingly comfortable allowing Prince William to take the harder line. Some royal analysts suggest King Charles III may understand something deeply personal. That fathers often struggle to say no, but institutions cannot afford emotional accounting. And that is where Prince William becomes essential. Prince William, the future king, may not simply be protecting money. Prince William may be protecting legitimacy. And legitimacy, once lost, can take generations to rebuild. So what happens if Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, requests access, accommodation, protection, or symbolic inclusion? But the numbers no longer support the narrative. What happens if emotion reaches the palace gates, but finance stops it at the ledger? And perhaps the bigger question: would the public support Prince William for holding that line? Because according to many commentators, public sentiment increasingly favors transparency, merit, and accountability over inherited privilege without visible duty. And if that trend continues, Prince William may not merely be winning a family dispute. Prince William